Riot Games and Blizzard Entertainment. A tale of two companies. Blizzard, a storied one going back to all the way to the 90s. Many legendary games, StarCraft, Warcraft, World of Warcraft, Overwatch. Riot Games, relatively recent. 10 years of League of Legends into a whole slew of new games. In this past week, Blizzard Entertainment has had probably the worst week in the history of its company. And Riot Games has had possibly the best. In this past week, this is what happened for Blizzard. Okay, number one, Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 were delayed to 2023 at the earliest, largely due to a number of leaders of Blizzard leaving all at once. And again, these were the two games at the last BlizzCon that they were sort of counting on to save the company. At a time when they needed good news the most, they were given bad. Blizzard's president, co-lead, Jen O'Neill, quit her job 3 months into the role after realizing she was only hired as a gesture of tokenism to have a woman in leadership. And she realized she couldn't make any impact, so she openly said that, and she quit 3 months in. Then they canceled BlizzCon. The effort required to put on BlizzCon is better spent supporting our teams, meaning we don't have enough people. We can't put this on. It's going to be, and also everyone's going to be angry at us. And so we're going to get yelled at by the fans the entire time. We're just not going to do it. Also, even more importantly, they have nothing to announce. This is the key thing. I guarantee you, if Diablo 4 was good and ready to launch, they would put on BlizzCon because they need the win. Worst of all, the most damning thing you could have happen to your company is Jesus himself said this.
I think at this point it's safe to say Activision Blizzard is the most evil video game company ever.
This is a picture of the CEO of EA trying to smile. Because somebody finally knocked them off the list. Blizzard has done it. They've taken I was like an unbeatable record, dude. But that's Blizzard's week. Let's talk about Riot Games week, okay? Riot Games breaks records with Arcane as Netflix's best rated show ever. And now, I don't think that'll last. There's a lot of hype around the beginning, and there's a lot of fans, but it's still phenomenally reviewed. The critic score is 100%, and the audience score is 99% on a fan-related movie. On a fan-related movie, it's always like critic score 22%, audience score 93%. And it's the first show since the launch of Squid Game to dethrone it. And that's just one thing. They also surprise dropped 2 new games out of nowhere. Blizzard can't find a game in the couch cushions, and Riot Games just dropped 2 games out of nowhere. They're tossing them offhand at this point. And they announced 2 more games. And they also released information on Project L, which looks amazing. And I was thinking, wow, this week really summarizes what the past few years have felt like, where it's all slipping more towards Riot and away from Blizzard. And I found this Quora thread from 2017, where somebody asked the question, who's better, Riot or Blizzard? This is from 2017. And the responses were unanimous for Blizzard. This guy worked at both, and he said, for me, Blizzard is leagues, above and beyond Riot in terms of creative diversity and maturity of intellectual properties. Back in 2017, generally, most people would agree, Riot Games was, why even have the S? They're one game, and Blizzard is the king of the block. And so there's a lot of reasons that they have been diverged, okay? But the main theme I want to have is innovation versus exploitation. One of these companies was sued by the state of California for a culture of sexual harassment. One of these companies was also deeply tied to China and warned all of its casters to speak nothing about the Hong Kong situation. The other company is Blizzard, who did the same things but worse. It's both. And yet, for some reason, Riot is on top of the world today. Let's start by talking about Arcane again, okay? Fantastic fucking show. My God. I have no deep affinity for the League of Legends lore outside of maybe Fizz. It's a well-written show. The animation's good. I mean, I'm just super impressed. And I'm not the only one. So this is what I was talking about. 100% on the tomatometer, 98% audience score. This is, in my mind, far and away the best video game film or TV adaptation ever. Having seen, I think, all of them. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You know what? Outside of the new Mario movie with Chris Pratt. So the show was so good that my friend Jimmy Wong had to tweet a PSA. As someone who has played League of Legends for 8 years now, please don't play it just because you watched Arcane. And I'm here to echo that PSA. Arcane is a fantastic show. I love it. It will not be drawing me back in to play ranked League of Legends. That being said, I don't think these PSAs will have any effect because I like to show you this graph. What do you guys think this graph is? This is a graph of chess.com signups after the launch of Queen's Gambit. That's the red line. And that's a game that is kind of intimidating for new players. League of Legends, brightly colored, better user flow, is only going to experience this on crack after Arcane's success. There's just no way. This is the World of Warcraft movie. You'll notice not quite as beloved. And this came out first. Like Blizzard had the idea first of turning their game into a big media property, making the IP live beyond video games. And so what did they do differently than Blizzard in this situation? Well, first of all, they were approached by many, many people to make League of Legends film and TV properties. And they turned them all down to use the people in-house. The people they put in charge of this are the people that made the cinematics. And that is an incredibly brave decision. They didn't want to let somebody who had more movie experience but no league experience make their property. And it definitely shows in Arcane. What I always think of Hitman. Whoever made the Timothy Oliphant Hitman had never even seen the game, bro. The way he acts and then what he does is nothing like the game. And so you can just tell there's a huge disconnect between people that made the movie and people that made the game. Blizzard partnered for their movie. They partnered for their movie with Legendary Pictures to make a live-action Warcraft movie back in 2006. And after 10 years of switching directors, switching talent, swapping in and out, trying to find the right fit, they farted out a bad movie, a poorly received movie, 10 years later to make some money. A Blizzard cinematic was better than the World of Warcraft movie. And maybe Blizzard, a company that could have done this, that had years of excellent cinematics, could have given their team a chance, given them extra money, given them a chance to go off and make a movie. Instead, went with this and ended up with a bad result. Secondly, and this is a major one, how both companies have responded to the rise of influencers in the past, let's say 5 to 7 years. Influencers and creators have drastically changed the gaming environment. And companies that understand them versus those that don't are seeing massive shifts in outcomes.
Because working with Riot's such a day and night difference. I had a Riot event and then I had a Blizzard event back to back, right? And Riot paid me to go to an event. They also paid for they gave me $500 in Uber credits. And to travel for the Blizzard event, they're like, fuck you, find your way here. I had to use Riot's Uber budget that they gave me so I can travel to a Blizzard event. Yeah, we're giving you exposure. You get advanced access. That's your reward kind of deal.
Now, my editors will tell you, I'm all for paying exposure. But when you're a big game company, it starts to look bad year after year when everybody else is realizing how important influencers are and paying them appropriately. Early in this video, he talks about how Riot Games made a bounty board to play League of Legends on stream. And they didn't care if you were Tyler 1 or XQC. If you played League before or you didn't. Then Blizzard did the same thing for Hearthstone. But when Toast tried to do it, they said, no, only if you've never played Hearthstone will we pay you. If we've already got you playing Hearthstone, you don't get shit. And that sort of cheap ass attitude that us first kind of thing is so backwards looking. And it's an arrogant outlook is what it is. Later in the video, he talks about how Blizzard tried to fly out Skara, Toast, and a bunch of people to test their new game for 8 hours of playtest for no money. They couldn't stream it. They couldn't make a video. They wanted them to just sit down and play test it for 8 hours a day and give them feedback for free. And they thought they would just be honored to try a new Blizzard game. And that is like a 2002 way of thinking. There's a business reason for this. It's not just being nice. If Toast has been given a lot of money and been treated really well, he's gonna think twice when there's a bug in a game and he wants to bitch at the developer. He's gonna be a little nicer. He's gonna soften his blow. Blizzard, because they pissed everyone off over and over and over and over, when you mess up, they will flip on you.
We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC.
Boo!
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right? You can play on your tablet too.
And again, in a different environment, had this been the one slip up and the community trusted Blizzard, this one moment probably wouldn't have been such a big a deal. It just ignites all the resentment that's been building up and people just pounce on it. And every influencer that had a bone to pick with Blizzard watched this clip 100 times the next day and roasted him. Look at this face, by the way. This is the face of a man who's got a phone. Both of these companies had lawsuits from the state of California about sexist culture. How do they handle those situations differently? So this article came out from Kotaku in 2016, Inside the Culture of Sexism at Riot Games. This is before anything was revealed at Blizzard. The immediate response, I think the best way to explain this, actually, I want to explain how Riot handles this in kind of a crass way. This is back when Dave Chappelle was more of a forward thinker and less of a reactionary turf. It's one of the jokes, I think, kind of summarizes in a crass way Riot Games' strategy. And this is when Kobe Bryant was accused of sexual misconduct.
Kobe kept it together. Thank God he held his game together, because if he was cracking under pressure and getting like 6 points a game, the whole LA would have been like, that is guilty. He was playing like his freedom depended on that shit. You see this motherfucker in them games, this nigga's trying to beat that case on the court.
And the idea of beating the case on the court, most people, in my experience, don't give much amount of weight to your words. They don't. Every time something like this happens at a big company, they'll do the same fucking apology. It's like a YouTuber apology. It's like nobody believes or trusts a YouTuber apology. Blizzard came out and said, we don't support this type of workplace culture. We're going to move towards a zero tolerance policy against sexual harassment. And there was a great bit in Charlie's video where he's like, wow, everyone clapped that you finally went for a zero tolerance policy. Like, that's not fucking normal. And so what Riot Games sort of did in both these situations, they basically litigated those cases on the court. And by that, I mean, they started bawling. When this article came out, they followed it up with KDA. Their biggest expansion into music of all time. And all of a sudden, people were forgetting. Instead of trying to apologize until people, like, for some reason forgave them, they just dropped something cool. And that's the equivalent of Kobe starting to shoot 38 points a game, you know? If you are backed against the wall, your options are crumble or remind people why they liked your company to begin with. Get back to basics. When the Blitzchung situation happened, this guy, Blitzchung, came on screen at a Blizzard event and said, freedom for Hong Kong, the glorious revolution of our age, something like that. The casters literally hid from the camera and they were all fired, including the casters, which was absolutely ludicrous. Extreme over-the-top response. Denied him his prize money, denied him a place in the Hall of Fame, banned him for life from Blizzard events. It got extreme negative pushback. Everyone rose up. Of course, this is censorship. This is terrible. By the way, this is an American company, Blizzard, owned by an American company, Activision. Riot Games, 100% wholly owned by Tencent. They also banned the speech about it. They did it quietly. They did not make a big show of it. They didn't make a big show of force. And then the second anyone started talking about this, because this started to get some pickup on Reddit, people were like, hey, what the hell's this? They dropped Project A and Project L. I'm talking like the same week. That is called litigating on the court. Avoid talking endlessly about your weaknesses because it never changes. Now, this is mostly about Blizzard versus Riot, but I wanted to do a quick jab here at Valve because I found this tweet today. Valve has a multi-decade head start on competitive shooters. They've got one of the most beautiful games of all time in CSGO. They've got a thriving esports scene. They got a thriving marketplace. And they have simply, apparently, no time or effort to invest in growing and updating the game at the level of other major publishers. The debate over what is a better game, Valorant or CSGO, is kind of irrelevant from a business POV. Because CSGO is not attracting new players at the same rate as Valorant. That's it. Legends of Runeterra, I'm comparing this to Heroes of the Storm because these are two games that launched and haven't done that well. On Blizzard's side, they canceled the game. They cancel it. They give no warning. They ruin the esports scene. Riot has continued to support esports for this game, and in fact, are trying to pivot into other areas that might make it more entertaining. They've noticed people aren't really enjoying the competitive aspect of it that much, So they're making PvE mode. As a third example, think of Valve with, I can't even remember the name. What was that card game they launched? Artifact. Remember Artifact? Dude, Artifact was dead, not only from the player base, but from the developer. Like, Valve pretended they didn't release it 1 week in. Valve was like, oh, that's not our game. I don't know whose game that is. This is Riot in 2017. I was here live. This is fucking amazing. Dragons are real. Was the dragon real? Oh, totally. No, it's an amazing AR dragon. But this is the first of its kind. They had a massive ass stadium. They got a huge ass fucking AR dragon. It's a cool fucking thing. It's memorable. It's innovative. In the same year.
Shout out DJ Envy in the building.
This is Overwatch League.
Go, sing it.
So you can see which company was innovating. And by the way, franchises in that League of Legends tournament you saw, about $1 million to $3 million. Franchises in the Overwatch League, $60 million. For your team to be featured next to DJ Khaled in a smaller stadium. Blizzard overcharged, overpromised, and underdelivered, and Riot did the opposite. And so when you add all that up, all that innovation on Riot's side, in a number of ways, in the way they're approaching TV, music, game development, connected IP, treating their talent better, and then exploitation on the Blizzard side, where they're basically just using influencers without paying them extra, without fostering a relationship, where they're exploiting their own developers, and where they're dropping games so they don't make a quick buck for them, has led to this in this past week. And that is a complete, total collapse of Blizzard's stock market price. They are down a third in this year. They are a third less valuable and heading lower. And there is no near-term catalysts that are going to change this. You might be thinking, okay, well, they'll bounce back when they get more games or money. But the truth is, when your company has such negative momentum like this and such bad PR, what you end up with is a brain drain. This is the biggest threat to a company of Blizzard's size. And that is where your talent starts leaving. And with Blizzard, this has been meteoric. This is 4 studios formed in the past year and a half. These are all ex-Blizzard. And that leaves them with no talent to make the games they need to save their company. Not only are you losing people, but you can't hire anybody. Blizzard generally relied on the Blizzard clout. They would say, hey, we don't pay more than anyone else, but having Blizzard on your resume is a dope thing. They told me this when I'm applying there. Even after all of this, at the end of the day, Blizzard has one thing that is keeping it going. The dark, bleeding heart of Blizzard is World of Warcraft money. There are a class of people that are simply unable to leave WoW. They've put too much of their life and time into it that they are hooked. And they print money for Blizzard for decades now. WoW is what keeps Blizzard Blizzard. And I want to end this presentation with this. A website that went up on Riot Games' page, hiring for the League of Legends MMO. This, to me, more than anything else, looks like the end of Blizzard. That's a tale of two companies of the past few years, Riot and Blizzard, and what their different strategies have led to different outcomes. And that's Marketing Monday. Hope you enjoyed.